Hey, this is the Hawk. I won't tell you where I am because I don't want to be getting into gunfights with people, but I got to tell you this. What is happening in the United States right now is ridiculous. If you look at that picture I just posted as my entryway to this video today, you will see three gentlemen that were in Sandy Hook, Boston, the Boston bombing, and then one of those gentlemen seems to be the guy that killed this guy. Listen, you want peaceful protest? I agree. But when you're burning down things and then you have to go loot the Nike store, I don't care what anybody says. Black Lives Matter and this Antifa, these are terrorist organizations. Listen, if you gotta hide your face or you gotta go beat up a guy in Dallas just because he's trying to protect his store and then you kill him, how do you justify this? How do you justify this? You can't justify it. I'm calling on all black people in America. How do you justify this? How do you justify kicking a young white kid to death and thinking that's okay? How do you justify burning down police stations or killing a cop by shooting him? You don't see what's really going on here when they're bussing in protesters to all these different places? Now Myrtle Beach is calling for civil unrest because they know there's 3 busloads of people going in there. I'm talking to all logical United States citizens. Think about this. It's now pre-election time, and here we go with the same nonsense, with this racist nonsense as usual. It's a setup, and you're all down the rabbit hole. I don't agree with racism, and I don't agree with what's going on, and I don't think you all see the picture. This was a setup. And here we go. And suddenly all these busloads of people going everywhere are all ready to go. Don't you see it's a setup? Right before the election. As far as I'm concerned, George Soros should be arrested for a clear present danger to the United States. His whole entire organization needs to be shut down. Completely shut down. Until a complete investigation is done into his organization, and whoever is funding Antifa, the Black Lives Matter, or any of these organizations, one has to look at what's really going on, and whoever's funding them is guilty of murder right now. 2 people have been murdered while this whole thing has been going, and who's funding it? And I'm talking to all the black people in America and all the citizens in America. Start looking at the big picture. We just went through 4 years of lies about the Russian inclusion and Russian spies and the Russian controlling our elections and all this nonsense, only to find out it's Democrats, right? It's the Democrats. And all these states where you're getting all these violent things that are going on, they're all democratically run states. You got to see the big picture here. This was pre-planned, pre-set up. Come on, guys. You got to stop going down the rabbit hole. And as for the media, I have to laugh because they went and attacked CNN, but then broke down a whole bunch of stuff. That's just the joke of the century, right? How ironic. I don't normally get into U.S. politics, but you got to see the big picture. You got to get out of this. Stop sucking down what they're telling you and just believing. If it was me, you're lucky I'm not the president of the United States. I would have sent the Marines out right away. First rioter that stepped out of line, he would have got his head cracked and he'd be in jail. And if you have to loot You're not there for the for the crime of killing a black man. You're there to steal. You're not interested in what's really going on. You just want to go steal. And then you go beat up people or shoot people. What's the point? Then it just proves you just a racist like the rest of them. It doesn't make sense. Why do you have to loot if you are doing peaceful demonstrations about the injustice of what happened? It's the same. A lot of these mass shootings don't make sense to me. If you look at most of the perpetrators, they're all sitting there, their eyes are this big, and this is days after they come out of the stupor. It looks like they've had a drug-induced stupor. And then they're sitting there like this. They don't know what the hell's going on. Why am I here? Oh my God, I just killed a bunch of people. How did this happen? Well, and then suddenly the Democrats are all there screaming right away within an hour or two. And they got busloads of kids screaming for gun control. Stop going down the rabbit hole. If the law does not prevail, you have no law. So all the people that are looting, you need to be arrested, and every single one of them should get 10 to 20 years. You see how quickly that stops. And there needs to be examples made. This is not about racism. This was a setup. Yes, the man died. Can you imagine what that family's going through knowing that they just killed a cop and they killed a young white guy in Dallas? Two wrongs don't make a right. Listen, President Trump has done more for black people in the last 4 years than any president's done in the last 6 administrations. He's done more for America than all these other guys have done. Yeah, so we're going through a pandemic right now, which was a con. Everybody's got to realize it's a con. There's a space of 2 weeks that you're supposed to be quarantined. Why are we still sitting doing this 4 months later? In every country in the world, there's a reset going on. Something's going down. Massive shipments of gold going from Russia to England, England to the United States. It's all moving gold. What is this? They're going to get rid of the central banks and go to the gold standard? People, start thinking. Get outside the box. This is a setup. Look at the picture and tell me if I'm wrong. If somebody's telling me that picture's wrong, then I'm wrong. But something stinks about this whole thing. Suddenly you got busloads of people going to these different places to burn down police stations. Right away, that there is civil, that's terrorism, that's urban terrorism. Listen, we all realize that there's injustice in this world. But if you want to protest, do it peacefully. Take the mask off your face. Stop being a coward and hiding. If you're that brave, stand up and be counted. But if you have to run up to a guy and hit him over the head with a baseball bat and then run away and think you're brave, or hit an old lady and punch her in the face because there's 6 of you guys, to me, you're nothing but punks. You're cowards. You're doing nothing for your people. You're just proving to everybody you're punks. It doesn't mean you're brave, because on one-on-one you'd run. This is so wrong. Everybody, just look at the big picture here. Don't go down the rabbit hole. Don't listen to the bullshit media. They're all lying. If they have to bust protesters in, that's a setup. Whole thing's a setup. And it all points to one person, George Soros and his organization. And all these libtards, idiots, Hollywood specialists, and all these liberal Hollywood people that are all on their bandwagon on Twitter. Oh, how terrible. Like that singer. What's her name? That country and western singer. I seen her in Iraq. Sitting there all by herself in Camp Rustamaya. I asked her, who are you? Oh, I won some competition. And there was nobody around. She even asked me if I wanted to do an autograph, and I said no. It's okay. Now she can criticize the United States president. It's a joke. Unbelievable. Hey, this is the Hawk. I don't like getting into U.S. politics, but today really peed me off. Listen, I don't agree with what they did to that black man. I don't care who you are. I don't care. I don't agree with anybody doing anything to anybody. If you need to arrest somebody, cuff him, put him away. Don't need 10 cops beating the shit out of somebody, or sticking your knee in his neck, or tasering little girls, or beating people over the head, or forcing them out of cars to get their licenses. All that, these are bad cops. Get rid of them. I don't care who you are. Wrong is wrong. If you want to protest, go down the street. Do it logically, do it peacefully, do it the lawful way. Because if the law don't prevail, you have no law. There's no reason to go break into the Nike store. What does that prove to you? They all ran in the Nike store, stole it clean out. Dallas, they broke into the guy's store and killed him. They literally kicked him to death. How do you logically justify this? You can't. So I'm calling on President Trump to make some really strict laws. You want to protest, you do it legally. You step out of line, looters need to get 10 to 20 years. Anybody gets killed during these riots, that's a life imprisonment. It's time to get hard. It's time to clean house. And it's time to go after the money. Who's setting this up? Who's doing this? Our children have to grow up in this now. When will this stop? Now you got Obama there, and I'll bet you Al Sharpton's out there with his little suit. And you got Jackson and all the other idiots all out there now, all screaming racism and how terrible the president is right before the election, people. Come on now. It doesn't take a fool to see what's going on. Outside the box. This is the Hawk. Please subscribe to my channel, share and like. I'm out of here. I'm off to the next town.